Hello, everyone. This is Bernie Burns.
Hey, I am Jeff Ramsey.
Gus Cirola.
Joel Heyman.
And then there's Jack.
You throw a tomahawk just right at a horse in its head between its eyes, and the handle sticking out of the tomahawk. It looks like a unicorn horn.
They suck dick at sucking dick.
Almost like we need another World War.
Theme song. This is the theme song. And we're done.
The Drunk Tank, sponsored by Maybach.
Hey, everyone. It's the Rooster Teeth Podcast. Our theme song this week was made by Mr. Sir from the website.
Yeah, Mr. Sir, and he's going to jerk off when he hears it.
He's a friend of yours, right?
He is, yes. I actually stayed in a room with him in New York Comic Con.
Oh, really? So you got really good friends.
Fuck yeah.
We got Michael right
Hello.
there.
That's me.
Telling us wonderful stories about
So many good
New York.
stories.
And we got Chris for the first time ever
Hello.
in the podcast. Chris has been working with us for about a year now. Finally graduated up to the podcast.
I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy now.
Chris has been in a lot of our shorts. You were Captain America before the dick shrinking in the Captain America short. And I brought you guys in here. And we have 2 empty spots because I'm hoping that Brandon comes down and joins us later. And he has support, he says. He has someone who's going to back him up on this whole South Pole magnet thing.
It's still going on.
He's been arguing about it like almost every day
for weeks.
upstairs. Yeah.
What was that, like 2 weeks ago?
I can't believe the amount of email and conversation that this has actually generated. I feel like people at New York Comic Con and people at New York Comic Con, people were constantly talking about it, and I've been getting constant like emails and tweets about it since this episode aired, and it's like split 50-50 down the middle. Half the people say Brandon's right, half the people say Brandon's wrong. So it's the dumbest conversation that's gone on for the longest amount of time I think ever in my life. It's so fucking retarded. And I love people like experts try to weigh in on it. I had someone contact me, claiming that Brandon was right and that he was an expert, but he couldn't spell museum correctly. He spelled it M-U-S-I-U-M.
Didn't they say they worked at a museum?
Yeah. So it's like that's the company Brandon has. So I feel pretty good about my position.
The 12-year-old pretending to work at a museum.
Yeah. So I brought you guys in here so I wanted to talk about New York Comic Con. We just wrapped that up.
Yeah.
Got back from that. It was an incredibly long 4 days.
Yes, it was.
But we survived.
We did a great job.
This was your first event ever.
Yeah.
Chris. What were you not expecting? What was the thing that surprised you most being there?
How busy it was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, people everywhere. It was the first time I ever went to a convention in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any, before you went to the event, were there any costumes you were expecting to see or you were, excited to see or anything?
Big people in spandex.
That did not disappoint.
We definitely saw plenty of that.
Definitely saw that.
I saw this at this event. I feel like I saw more dicks than normal. There were lots of dudes wearing super tight tights with no underwear, and I saw.
Wasn't there a girl with a dick?
There was a girl who might have had a dick.
Sure was.
It didn't seem big enough to be a dick, but there was definitely something in there.
some sort of growth.
Yeah, either some sort of growth or a frontal turd, or there was definitely something in there.
I think my favorite costume I saw was it was on Friday or Saturday. I was in the restroom, and some big fat dude walks in dressed as Batman, and he was way too short, and his cape was dragging across the floor of the restroom. And I was like, oh,
gross. My favorite I'd never seen this before, but the couple of guys came by our booth. I think they were guys. They were dressed up as the Yip Yips from Sesame Street.
Yes,
I thought those costumes were really good. I've never seen that before. I saw a couple dressed as Han Solo and an Ewok.
I didn't know they were a good couple.
Apparently they were romantically linked. But I actually bought a couple of things at this event. I feel like I never do. Someone was selling what they call plush stashes or plush stash.
Oh yeah.
It's like a big plush mustache you can wrap around your head.
If you want to fucking suffocate,
That's the one design problem is you can no longer breathe through your nose once you're wearing it.
You can't breathe through your nose, and your face just gets
itchy,
20 degrees warmer in 2 seconds. Those things are incredibly uncomfortable.
But they look great.
How much were they?
They were $10 each.
Jeez.
It's not bad.
Good thing I didn't pay for them.
Yeah. You're welcome. It was a team building exercise.
It was.
I wanted everyone to feel included.
Gus bought one for each of us, and they all had matching colors. It was very nice.
Well, colors to match your hair.
To match your hair,
appropriately
yes.
colored.
Speaking of which, so at the event, it was the three of us and Barbara, who's Blondie on the website, one of our community members. And the people who came up to the booth kept confusing her with every other woman that we work with. Like, a bunch of people thought she was Kathleen, who does the voice of Tex. And a bunch of people thought she was Kara, who's, our receptionist, and who's been on the podcast before. And, in fact, a couple of guys brought ice cream to the booth, asking if she could knock it out of their hands, because we had said Kara does that. And we were like, oh, no, that's not Kara. They were like, oh. They all got, like, really sad. They were like, but she'll still knock the ice cream out of your hands if you want. And they were like, no.
It's not the same.
It's just not the same. Yeah, they, like, walked away all sad and dejected. So that was really funny.
One guy came to the booth, and he was like some dude, some like short fat dude. He was probably like in his 50s, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing at Comic-Con. He looked like not a businessman, but
Oh, you're talking about the Creeper.
Yep, the Creeper guy.
Creeper?
Right? So he comes up to the booth, right? And Barbara was sitting down.
This guy.
Yeah, Barbara was sitting down. And I think the
He
three
had
of us were
one
there.
of those like little rolly backpacks.
Yeah. He was rolling on the ground. He just stops at the booth, and he's like, if you're gonna have a pretty girl at the booth, she can't be wearing that much clothes, or something like that, right?
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
we're like,
We thought he was
what?
kidding.
We thought he was joking.
like-
and we're like, what? And she's like, he's like, no. He's like, you gotta show more skin than that.
You gotta have them at least up to your thighs.
Right, he's like, you gotta wear
At
a
least
short
up to your thighs.
skirt. And
then you gotta show some midriff.
right,
Some belly button.
And Barbara's like, well, these guys are booth babes, like still trying to joke around,
Right, trying to defuse the
and
situation.
The guy looks at us and he's like, no, get out of here. And then he goes in some fucking retarded story about ice cream, where he's like, I forget exactly
It's like,
what it was.
back in my day, I used to work for a company that made ice cream.
Right.
It was
than Haagen-Dazs.
Better than Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs got nothing on this. It was some German ice cream. Oh, man, and the booth babes we had.
Yeah, he's like, we got Swedish models, and they wore skirts all the way up to here, and it's like the skirts like apparently stopped like above their stomach. I'm not sure how that
Somehow.
works. Yeah, and he's like, we sold more fucking ice cream than you believe, and it's just like, all right,
And then
guy.
there's like
It's
awkward silence. He goes,
So how y'all doing?
yeah, and we're like,
and then walked away.
and
He
we're
didn't,
like,
he didn't wait for a response.
and we're like, all right. At one point, when he started talking about the ice cream, I was like, I literally just like put my head down. I stared at the floor, and I said out loud, I went, "What the fuck?" And I was just like trying not to like tell this guy to fuck off. And then he's like, "All right, see ya," and he just walks off. And as soon as he turns around, Barbara gives him both middle fingers, and she's like, "Fucking piece of shit." Good lord.
It's always amazing the people you run into at those events.
Then some other guy was he thought Barbara was Kathleen, but he didn't say Kathleen.
He said,
He fucked up the name, and then he started. He's like, you know, she plays Rex. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
and you're like, Rex? Who the fuck is Rex? And you're like, you mean Tex? He's like, oh yeah. How come Tex doesn't have any lines? You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? She talks all the time. And like, I was just like,
well, then he left, and then his friend came back over and was like, I gotta apologize for my friend. I know that you play sister. It's like, nope.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
what a jerk.
So I got on top of meeting everyone, all these interesting, fascinating people, I also got to sit in and be part of the Halo Waypoint panel. Or actually, I think technically it was the Halo Anniversary Discussion panel.
There you go.
I had to wear a sign
You did.
around
You
my
look like
neck.
a hobo
promoting
wearing a
it.
cardboard sign.
You'd be surprised how I had that sign around my neck, and it had like information about the panel and where it was and what time it was. You'd be surprised how many people came up to me trying to give me a hug, thinking it was a free hug sign. They'd be like, no, read the sign. Don't fucking touch me.
Some guy was talking to you. He's looking right at you. You had the sign on, and it was it's big
It's
letters.
a big sign, yeah.
He's looking at you, and he's like, "So you're going to be on the Halo panel?" And you're like,
I looked down at
you
it.
just look down, and you look back at him, and he's just like, "Oh, okay,
Where's it at?
yeah."
Yeah, I think I just picked it up and I was
Yeah.
like, just showed it to him. But that was pretty cool. They showed off some of the new features for Halo Anniversary Edition. I guess they announced all the Connect features that they're going to have for Anniversary. They showed a new map, which was High Noon, which is a remake of Hang 'em High, I think. I forget. That map's been remade a couple of times. Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
1v1 pistols only.
I don't know if someone asked if they're going to have a 1v1 hopper, and they did not answer that.
I don't know. That's just like the best like internet throwdown. Like the people would always say that when Halo 1 was out. It was like Hang 'em High was like the map. When the pistols
Yeah.
killed you in like 2 shots. So people would always say that. So like now, like 10 years later, we'll be online and someone will be talking how much better they are than me. I'm like, fucking 1v1, hang 'em high, bitch, let's do it. And they're just like, what?
It's like a duel.
Say it all
it's
the
like
time.
fucking pistols at dawn.
Yeah.
We'll spawn under the little outhang. Fucking 10 paces and shoot. No, but we played. I had a chance. I went up to Certain Affinity. And I played that map with Jack a couple weeks ago, and I think Achievement Hunter's gonna be putting out, or Achievement Hunter's making some walkthroughs for those maps.
Yeah, some flybys and such that Gus may have provided his voice for several of.
Yeah, I don't know when those are coming out, but they should be out pretty
I
soon.
think soon.
I assume before the game comes
Yes.
out, which is like in 3 weeks.
Get to work, Jack.
Yeah, Jack needs to get to work. That's why he's not here. He's in the middle of doing some horse stuff, which I don't want to give away yet. Has that started yet?
Yeah, last week.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I've been out of town. I haven't had a chance to catch up on anything. Which was the last week one?
I think last week was Carrie
Was it-
versus Joel.
No, that was the one that was released last week?
Yes,
Oh, okay, cool. Who won?
Joel.
Oh, okay. Haven't had a chance to catch up.
I just lied. Carrie won. What the hell was I talking about? He did. He won 5-3. That's right. And Joel cursed at him and told him that he better fucking win the entire tournament.
Oh, that's right. I think I heard about that. I think I heard when they were filming that one.
Joel, he doesn't curse that much at all. And like 2 weeks ago, he started saying he'd be like, "Oh shit." Oh, it was during the one of the flyby maps. He was doing commentary with Jack, and he said like shit or something like that. And he's like, "I need to stop cussing. I cuss too much." I'm like, "You need to curse more. Curse more." And he's like, No. And then he went on this kick where like I heard him say it like 5 times in like a week. Like every time he would curse, he's like, "I need to stop cussing." He said it in last week's podcast when he came in.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, you need to curse more. So then he does that fucking horse game. He's doing the commentary with Kerry, and he curses a couple times, and then he's like, I gotta stop. No more cursing for me. And then like the whole second half of horse, he must say like fuck like 40 times, right? And he's like, fuck you. This is fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Fuck you, Kerry. You fucking piece of shit. And he's like, you better fucking win. You're gonna fucking win. And like right after it ended, I'm like, hey Joel, you're like not cursing campaign is really kind of like taking a dive. And he's like, I've decided I'm only going to curse in Achievement Hunter videos from now on.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
like, all right, that works for me.
He's saving it for the big guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Joel's a weirdo.
That's it.
He's a
That's it.
fucking
That's the end.
bizarre guy. Yeah, I was going to continue, but I think I might just stop there. But no, he like sometimes I'll ask him to be on the podcast. He's like, I don't know, I shouldn't be on the podcast anymore. I say things that I shouldn't say. Like, fuck it, just say it.
That's why everybody loves him.
Don't live a life of regret. Talk about putting a snake in a pool.
He walked in last week, and first thing he said, he walked down and looked at me and he said, how's your butthole? That was his entrance.
Well, he didn't say asshole.
Right.
So see, he was toning it
did.
down.
Right.
So, Gus, where were you the last night of New York?
The last night at New York.
We went to dinner.
Oh yeah, we went to dinner. I went back to the hotel, and then I went out to a sports bar, had 2 beers, and I went back and went to sleep.
You missed out.
Not Chris.
What happened?
Sunday night was a debacle where
Because we were done.
Hold on.
We were done with the con.
Before we get to this,
Okay.
I've got a Chris story I want to tell.
All right.
let's do it.
I love. I've never really hung out with Chris very much, and we went out a couple of times. At New York Comic Con, had dinner. I love the way you order drinks. It's like everyone else, lines up and they're at the bar, at the table, whatever. It's like, I'll have a gin and tonic, vodka and orange juice or whatever. And then it gets to Chris and it's, I'll have, I'm thinking about,
It's not that bad.
White Russian. Like the first time you did that, you ordered that White Russian. I was drinking my drink. I almost did a spit take. Like I almost spit my drink out. I wanted to laugh so bad. It was awesome. I don't know if you do it on purpose or what, but it's just so fucking funny.
He did that when we got breakfast that one day, and we ordered. He ordered last and got like whatever he got, like his eggs meal or whatever, and it came with an orange juice, or it came with a juice. And he's like, "I'll have the carrot juice," and the waiter's like, "Oh, the carrot juice is extra. For the free juice, you only get like apple, orange, or I think it was cranberry." And Chris looks at him, he's like, "Oh, okay." And then just like looks back at the table and just like looking at everybody else, like
That's a big
nonchalantly.
decision.
and then he's just looking around, and then he goes, "Wait, what?" And then he looks back at the guy.
Carrot juice is already weird enough.
And then like you lost your shit too. We went back to that same place and we ordered like to go. So we just walked up to the counter. We all placed our orders, and it gets to Chris, and he's like, "I'm fucking ready. I'm gonna order this. Everything's good." He's like, "I want this." The guy's like, "Oh, you can't have that on takeout. That's only dining in." And Chris is like, "Oh," and like he's like, "No, and started like going through the menu and shit. He's like, "Wait, no, I don't know what I want." That was funny.
It's awesome. So what happened the last night?
Well, we went out and we drank.
Right.
Because I was exhausted. I had no energy.
Right.
You guys still had to go out.
started with going out with us.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Chris, Barbara, and your
My
lovely
wife.
wife. And then you guys went back to the hotel, and we went drinking after that. I think we just met up with Barbara's brother, Steven, and his girlfriend, Jules. I think it was just the 5 of us.
So we were drinking for a while, and then we made a friend.
You made a friend?
Yeah.
A couple, yeah.
That was after
I don't-
I think they left, right?
No, I think they were still there.
Steven
They were still there.
Jules? They were still
Yeah.
there? Okay.
I don't know how we started talking to them.
We were upstairs in the bar, this is like right across the street from our hotel.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
It was that Irish
The
place?
Celtic pub or whatever.
Okay.
And the bar is it's like a restaurant area upstairs that closes at 12, but the bar downstairs is open till 4. So like we were there till 12, and I think the 5 of us went downstairs, and we ended up sitting at a table like right across from the bar, and these people were sitting at the bar. So I think like a conversation just sort of took place where we were all kind of involved in.
And it
But
was
you
just
talked
like-
to them mostly.
It was just a very douchey guy.
Yeah, he was a douchebag.
Like he was like trying to be really impressive. Like, I'm wearing a suit and
tie. Yes.
and oh yeah, I stock markets. Yes.
He's probably like
and then so
30s?
And we, just for reference, we were staying pretty close to Times Square. We were like
Yeah.
2 blocks away, so
Right.
And
it's
so-
not like we're in the financial district.
so he's talking to this girl, and we ended up I don't know, and then me and Michael were like, let's fuck with him.
Oh God!
So we go up to him, and then we start talking, and he just thinks we're like shitheads because we're wearing t-shirts. Mm-hmm. And
a girl cut, by the way. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all were wearing
I
Girl
was
Scout
wearing girl
shirts.
cut.
And so he starts talking. He's like, "Oh, so where'd you go to school?" And then just trying to like talk down to everyone. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm working in."
He said he was like working for Apple or used to work for Apple or some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
he was like trying to impress us with his job. And then like the more we started talking, the more the girl just started getting annoyed and started talking to us. And she was like, "He doesn't really work for Apple. He manages at Best Buy."
yeah. It's
Not that there's
fucking
anything
funny.
wrong with that.
No,
it's just
no,
like
it's just like-
when you set you like set your persona as one way, and it's like you're, I don't know, hiding something.
So this girl, I mean, what happened exactly?
The two of them eventually.
Were they like married or?
No,
So
they
how
were
do you
dating.
know?
See, we didn't really know at first.
Okay.
And so, like, part of our plan to fuck with them was like, let's like mess with the girl and like trying to like.
Totally cockblocked the guy.
Yeah,
Basically,
okay, yeah.
because he was a douche. So like, but eventually, Steven and Jules left, so it was just Chris, Barbara, myself, and them, and like. We were kind of fucking with them. We're like, we are involved in the same conversations kind of deals, like a group conversation. But like Barbara and I are sitting at the table. At that point, Chris was like, fuck it. He was sitting at the bar with them, just like laying into
Nice.
it like the whole time.
And so the only thing is initially we're just like joking around trying to cockblock him. The woman started hitting on me and was like rubbing on my leg and next to the guy. This is
While he's standing there. Right.
And so he started getting awkward and uncomfortable, like, oh, yeah. And so, it was to a point where I felt uncomfortable. I felt like a dick because I was cockblocking him so bad. So I was like,
Like you weren't
That
just,
didn't stop him,
You weren't just like cock blocking. You were like cock intercepting.
yeah, well, I mean, because it was one of those things where it's like, I have a girlfriend, so I wasn't trying to do anything.
Right.
We were just messing around.
Right, of
He got,
course.
like, he was like, okay, well, we should probably head out now. And then I was like, oh, and I was like, well, let me buy you a drink, because I just wanted to fuck with him. So much. And the guy was like, no, I've had enough. So I go to the girl, I'm like, oh, do you want a drink? She's like, yeah. So he's like, fuck, I gotta wait for another drink. But it got really bad to a point where I was like, okay, I feel bad for this guy. I'm like, I'm gonna try and bring him back together. So I'm like, so how long have y'all been together? And she's like, well, we're not together. Some of us can't stop sleeping with other girls. and I was like, oh man. And the guy's like, oh well, and then I was like, okay, well, so what are I'm still trying to like bring him back together because I feel bad at this point. I'm like, so what are what's your favorite thing to do together? And the guy's like, oh, sex. we're really good at sex together. Like, we're just great in bed together. And then the girl goes, well, some of us are good in bed.
Jesus.
Yeah. So this is like all Chris, and I didn't hear about this till like afterwards because I'm sitting at the table now at this point. So like we're sitting at the table, and Barbara's to my left, and there's like an open seat to the right. This dude just walks over and fucking sits down at the table.
He felt so bad with the things that she was saying. He's like, fuck this, I'm out. He was like, I can't. He was just like,
he was so depressed. He sat down at our table, and we're looking at him like, fuck do you want? He's like, hey, what's up? And like we would just
Maybe he was trying to he was trying to retaliate and like drive like fuck
I
with
don't
you
know what
two.
he was trying to do, but it did not work. So I'm not sure how that ended. Did they eventually leave?
I don't know.
Chris was mildly intoxicated at this point.
Yeah, because I was like, let's buy more drinks.
Chris told me that that's the most money he spent like the entire time was just buying them drinks to fuck with them.
God.
Like the entire trip. That's the most out of pocket money he spent. So like at some point it's just the three of us. I don't know whether they left or the guy went and killed himself or not. But
Memory gets a little hazy at some point.
yeah. I was like so drunk at this point. And I'm like, I'm fucking drunk. I look at Chris and I'm like, I am sober. He is just fucking gone, right? So Barbara got sick like Friday like night or whatever. She got like a cold and like some sinus stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like Sunday night, and the whole week was like exhausting. And it was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning at this point. She's like, oh, I want to go back to the hotel. I was like, all right, let's go.
Wait,
Wow,
What an entrance.
look at this guy.
Close the door.
So
Let's finish the story and we'll get to you.
so
so they're like,
yeah, I'm like, oh my god, well, let's go back. And Chris is like, we'll go back right after I get done puking in the bathroom. So he's like in the bathroom, like throwing up on the floor. Now he says he's only on the floor so he can get closer to the bowl. So I was like, all right. I was like, I'll walk.
I was
Barbara.
like, I got this. Just let me throw up and go away.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll walk Barbara back, and then I'll come back for you.
And it's just across the street.
It literally is like a 40-second walk. So she's like, all right. So we walk back to the hotel, go up to her room. She goes to bed. I was like, I'm going to go back and get Chris. I come back. I go back to the bar. I walk in, and this dude's like, no, turn around. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And the guy just like shoves me out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm meeting somebody in here. He's like, yeah, that's great. He's like, throws me out on the street. I'm like, well, fuck. Because I guess it was close to closing, and they were like not letting anybody else in. So I'm like standing there. I'm like, God damn it! And then there's some dude standing right next to the bar, and he's like, "That's fucked up, man. I saw that shit." I'm like, "I know, right?" And he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I don't know, what's up?" And he looks down. He's like, "Want to buy some drugs?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Come here." I'm like, "Oh, how you doing?" Because I was like, I'm totally drunk at this point. I'm like, "How you doing?" And he's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Michael." He's like, "I'm Kevin." I'm like, "Pleasure to meet you, Kevin." And like, I'm just sitting there having a conversation with the guy, and he's like going through all this shit he has. He's like, "I got this, and I got this, and I got this." I'm like, interesting. And I lean into him. I'm like, "Kevin, you got to tell me though, are you a cop?" And he's like, "No, man, I'm not a cop." I'm like, all right, it's cool. So this whole time I'm like waiting for Chris. I'm hoping he's still in the bar and waiting for him to stumble out. Because my phone died on Saturday, and I don't have his number outside my phone. So I'm like, I don't know where the fuck he is, if he's like somewhere in New York. So I'm just like talking to this guy to pass the time. And then he starts telling me about, there's this adult DVD store across the street that we pass like every day to the convention. And he's like, I'm gonna hook you up. You go across the street. You tell them Kevin sent you. We got live girls, 18 to 23. We got blacks, whites, Puerto Ricans, anything you want. You tell them Kevin sent you. I'll give you a deal. I'm like, that's a generous offer, Kevin, but I'm waiting to meet someone. And like, as this happens, Chris stumbles out of the bar, and it's like right on the corner where like you can like turn right and then cross the street, and then you're at the hotel. And Chris just goes boop and disappears around the corner. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right, I gotta go. He's like, hang on. And I was like, all right, Kevin, come on, I really gotta go. So I was like, I promise you, the next time I come back to New York, I'm going to go to the adult DVD store and tell him Kevin sent me. And I promise you I will do that. He's like, all right, good. Let me give you my number. And he takes out a business card, just like a hotel business card, and then writes in marker his name and his phone number on it and gives it to me. I'm like, all right, it was a pleasure meeting you. So I leave, turn the corner, Chris isn't there. And I was like, fuck. So I walk back to the hotel. I'm like, you better be in your fucking room, dude. Better be in the room. Because this was the one night we were actually staying together. I go up to the room, open the door. Yeah, he's not in there. I was like, shit. So I was like, well, time to wander the streets of New York looking for Chris. So I turn back around, go down the elevator, walk out the door, and Chris comes stumbling from the opposite direction of the bar. I'm like, where the fuck were you?
Did you make like an entire circle around the block?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I'm like, where the fuck were you? And he's like,
I did
and he
talk to
goes-
Kevin, though.
And he goes, I got lost. He did. He
I
also
talked to
come
Kevin.
down-
I was
Kevin
walking.
point you in the right way, the right
No,
direction.
no, I was walking by, and Kevin's like, "Hey, you want some cocaine?" I'm like, "No." And I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm just trying to find my hotel."
Wasn't like somebody else chasing you, or you thought?
I
they
don't
were?
know, because I was my thought process was, I'm really drunk, and I don't know where I'm going. I need to not look drunk so I don't get mugged. And so, and then I saw someone running towards me, and I'm like, "Are they chasing me?" I don't know. So I start running, and then I'm like, "Oh, there's a hotel." So I dart into the hotel and like nearly hit Michael because he's walking in looking
Oh
for
my
me.
god.
And that was Sunday night, and Monday he woke up obliterated, completely drunk.
I've got more drunk New York stories from this trip and from previous trips. And I've got more stories to tell about the day we left and how you guys barely got on the fucking plane. But we just had Brandon and David step into the room.
What's up?
Howdy.
And, you know, we've been doing the podcast for a long time now. It's, what, like 100, this is like episode
million.
136. And
I'm getting emotional right now.
I think that we recently had a discussion that has spawned the most emails and the most face-to-face discussions that we've ever had on the podcast, and that is whether or not the South Pole is in Canada.
I mean, the core. What? That's not in dispute.
That's what's in dispute. What's in dispute?
I thought that what was in dispute was the classification of North versus South, specifically.
So how is that different?
I thought you meant specifically if it's in Canada.
Oh,
Oh, you saying the general discussion? Okay,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, the reason is because it's contextual.
See, yeah, that's the problem. It's semantics and contextual. So you brought in someone who's going to say one thing, despite the fact that he's wrong.
No, what I'm saying though is
let's not
like
get too hasty.
it is contextual. However, when you use the term magnetic, you're defining the context.
So
you're saying
when-
we are going to classify this within respect of the standards when talking about the magnetism of poles.
So the link I put in the link dump when we first talked that said magnetic South Pole on Wikipedia, it said the magnetic South Pole's in Antarctica. That's what's wrong.
You found a Wikipedia article that proves your
Well, let me
point?
just say this. I found a Wikipedia article. Who did you find? Who's this?
Well, I'm David. I'm an engineering student here at UT.
I actually I can go grab them. I started going into physics textbooks, photocopying them.
I found an engineering student.
I will take a
David in the
physics
textbook. He's like, look what I found on this.
And I wrote down like, all right, this guy's a PhD from Illinois.
Totes.
See, that's what I like. That's what I like. Fucking documentation.
It's
okay.
upstairs. I can bring it.
Okay, we're going to talk about this. Well, I'll have to take a picture or something for the link dump. Okay, so what's the story here? What kind of engineering student?
so I'm
if you
gonna-
say civil, I'm going to kick you the fuck out of here.
I'm an aerospace engineering.
Okay.
I have like a license.
I'll accept
I'm a
that.
rocket scientist.
I'll accept that.
So
He literally launches rockets.
that's what I do at UT. I build and launch rockets.
I think we talked about one of your projects once a long
Yeah,
time ago on
yeah.
the podcast. We may have linked to it. I'll have to dig up the link and I'll put it again in this week's link dump.
yeah, it's an old project, but we ended up having to scrap it because too high, government regulations, all that fun stuff. So magnetic South Pole, right? It's magnetic South Pole means it's negative, and that's up in the north. Don't know why. So this magnetic South Pole is geographically north.
But that doesn't make sense. That's just semantics, though.
But
No, so here it is. So magnetic south means negative charge, and that's in the north.
But why is south equated to negative?
Because that's what it is.
this is my assessment, and it seems pretty clear that at some point they said the starting assumption we're going to have is that the North Pole points geographically north. Mm-hmm. So if you have a magnet, you can call the point that is attracted north, that's the North Pole. When you start at that assumption, you then deduce that the pole it points to is a South Pole because a North Pole has to be attracted to a South Pole.
Right.
So when you start at that first assumption, that's when you get the classification. And I agree
I
with
don't-
semantics.
I don't like that assumption.
But if you were to say that it's arbitrary, therefore I'm wrong, you can't say it's arbitrary and I'm wrong. You can say it's arbitrary, we can't make this classification, but you can't say it's semantics and arbitrary, but then say it is the North Pole.
I see.
However, what you are wrong about is that it's not a giant, it is not a pile of minerals in Canada that makes it be magnetically whatever.
He is right.
I think that was that was a given. I don't think anyone argued.
No one's arguing that. No one's arguing that.
All right, I'm going to accept that there may be another classification, but I will not I refuse to accept it.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you an impasse. You see, look, I look South Magnetic Pole. I'm looking it up.
Like
here. I was not prepared.
The other thing is,
expert witness Kevin the drug dealer.
The South Magnetic. Oh, I see the difference.
Yeah.
It's whether or not it's magnetic South Pole or South Magnetic Pole.
Exactly.
So South Magnetic Pole would be the magnetic pole at the south, but the magnetic South Pole
is the one. Yeah.
I see.
Exactly.
It's all about the word arrangement. Okay.
And the other thing, proud Canadians, the pole, whatever you want to call it, is in the great country of Canada.
However, it is actually moving to Russia at a speed of like 35 miles or so every year.
So you're going to be wrong eventually.
So, enjoy while it lasts.
I don't think anybody would be surprised about that.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't move. Look at that. It's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's just like the Earth's core. It's all like molten iron.
It's a couple degrees every
And
year.
that molten iron is located under Canada.
For
All of
now.
Until aliens come and move it. So, you know.
Wasn't there a movie about that? The core? Didn't we have to like send a bomb to the Earth's core in that movie and like restart it?
Yeah, like a bunch of nukes or something
Yeah.
up in there.
Oh, is that Kevin's card?
Yeah, that's
Sure
Kevin's
is.
card.
You should block out that number and put in like a picture of it or something. It's just a hotel. It's just a hotel card. He wrote his name out with a marker.
If anyone wants to call Kevin in New York, his phone number is 347.
Wow!
So if you need drugs or you want to go to the adult
Or you want me
bookstore
to get
on
murdered?
8th and 44th, just tell him Kevin sent you.
Right next to the Celtic pub.
Anyway, so that's interesting. Magnetic South Pole and South Magnetic Pole are two different things. That's what I learned.
Yes.
I hate to think of you as not being as much of an idiot as I thought.
I mean, I took physics.
Here's the problem.
Yes.
The people who were supporting you were all invariably idiots. Like I had a lot of emails and tweets from people who were like, "Oh, you know, Brandon's right. I work at a museum, MUS."
No, that was
was
Joel has a story about that. There's a kid who called Joel, and he just started dialing random extensions, and somehow he found one of our extensions. He got to Joel, and he started explaining, and Joel's like, no, seriously, I got to go back to work. Okay, just call Brandon. I got to go back to work. I mean, you know how Joel is on a good day. And so finally he talked to me, and he was just kind of like, I'm calling from the Oklahoma City of Museum Geography.
Oklahoma City of Museum.
It was just like, it was a bunch of words. It was a bunch of words that put together in no way made any sense. And he's like, I just want to tell you that you're right. And if you could bring me up in the podcast and let them know that
shit!
you're wrong.
No! Okay, I'm going to remove every mention of him now because then he's going to call back.
But I didn't say his name.
Yeah, but still,
He
he
knows
knows
who
it was
it is,
him.
though.
Yeah.
He knows.
Go to the City of Museum. And
All right. Well, you know who you are. We're never bringing you up again.
Oh, I should say Joel forwarded to me because he thought, it was this older woman called from the museum.
just
That's
sounded
going to help you.
He knew what he was doing. He knows that wasn't an older woman. Okay. So now that we've settled the discussion and we realize that magnetic South Pole and South Magnetic Pole are two different things, I want to tell a drunk story from New York. This is the previous time I went to New York, which was like 6 or 7 years ago now. I was there. I think I was at a bar with. I don't remember everyone that was there, but I know Bernie, Jeff, and Kathleen were there, and I was there as well. And we stayed till the bar closed. It was like 4 a.m. We walk out of the bar. And there was a dude who had been drinking in the bar who was wearing like a camo jacket and camo pants. And we walk out of the bar, we walk into the street, and the dude's kind of like standing and kind of bobbing and weaving on the corner, like not able to stand up straight. And then all of a sudden he loses his balance and falls face forward into a bumper of a car that's parked on the street. Like his face, like he doesn't even try to stop himself. He hits the bumper with his face, then rolls over into the gutter, and it's just like passed out in the gutter. And Jeff and I lost it. We just fucking started laughing. Like we're like, oh my god, the guy fucking hit the bumper and he fell in the gutter. So then Bernie and Kathleen decided they wanted to be good Samaritans. So they're like, oh, are you okay? They're like in the gutter with him. And we're all fucking drunk, right? They're like, are you okay? Wake up. Hello, are you okay? And he kind of like stirs. He's like, and they're like, we're going to put you in a cab. So they get like this drunk guy. Bernie has this drunk guy with him in the street. Is like trying to wave down cabs. And not a cab will stop. No cabs are stopping. And one cab kind of slows down and looks at the guy and goes, where are you going? The guy goes, do you know how to get to Queens? And the cab just takes off. The cab doesn't even wait. And then Kathleen's like, here, let me do this. So she steps out into the street, and she just puts her arm out, and I'm not kidding, a fucking limousine pulls over. And like this limousine pulls over, looks at her and goes, where are you going? She goes, take him to Queens. The limo driver looks at the guy and goes, Okay, throw him in the back. So then Jeff and I lost it again. We're like, this guy's in a fucking limo now. This guy was like fucking wasted, fell into the street, and now he's getting in a limousine. Like, what next? Is a helicopter going to come and fucking pick up the limousine? So then the dude drives off, and it's just the most bizarre thing. Like, I wondered, the next morning, did the dude like come to and it's like, was I in a limo? Like, I wonder if he even made it home. Like, we put this guy in a limo, and who knows what the fuck happened. Maybe it was like, maybe his organs got harvested for all we know.
Hopefully.
The limo rapist, as the New York Times are calling it.
But when we were in New York this past time, the first night we were there, we couldn't do much the first day because not our entire shipment didn't show up, and we were waiting on some things. So we went out and we went drinking, and I got fucking drunk. I got so drunk I started arm wrestling people.
You started the whole thing. Gus was like, I don't. We went out to dinner.
Well, I think the first one was you and Barbara.
No, the first one was me and you.
Yeah, the first was you two.
But
Who won that one?
Like we went out to drink first. We were at, I don't know where we were.
we were at a restaurant first.
Oh, that's right. And then
We ate dinner and got drunk at the restaurant.
And then we moved to an Irish
we went
place
to the
across
bar.
the street.
We were seriously there. I was there every single day. Sometimes like twice in one day. I went to that fucking pub.
we walked in and stumbled upstairs and started arm wrestling.
Yes, we started drinking, and I don't remember how it came up, but Gus is like, we should fucking arm wrestle.
I never arm wrestle. Look at me. I'm the fucking weakest
Like,
dude in the
I'm
world.
like, we should not arm wrestle. That is like a classic drunk move. And he's like, are you scared, bitch? God damn it.
There are pictures, by the way.
Who won?
So those two arm wrestled first, and I think Michael won. Then I arm wrestled Michael, and
No. Then you arm wrestled Barbara.
I had to get a confidence builder. Did I win that? Like,
won.
honestly,
you crushed her.
Honestly, I have no memory of arm wrestling Barbara.
Honestly, I thought she might beat you. Like, I'm not even kidding. I thought she was going to win.
I have a vague memory of us arm wrestling, but I do not remember arm wrestling
and
Barbara.
then
at all.
I was calling bullshit because like Chris and I, like, it was close. You just like crushed her. So I was like, my arm's tired. That's not fair. And Gus is like, fucking baby, wah,
To the
wah,
girl.
little baby. Yeah.
I don't remember any of this.
So then I was like, oh, fine. And then Gus and I arm wrestled, and I ended up winning. And he's like, and Gus is like, I have no dick. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then like it's like we were at the restaurant, and I'm like, Gus, are you drunk? And you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. We get to the pub and we're drinking. And you're just like, I'm fucking wasted. And you just like yelled it.
You're like, I'm going home.
Like I signed for the. I closed out my tab. I walked across the street, and literally, as I was walking to the hotel room, I was just taking my clothes off and just fell on the bed and like passed out like that. Like I woke up the next morning and I was.
You got drunk, so taking off your clothes, and the next morning you woke up in a limo.
But I woke up frightened. Like I woke up and I saw like the buildings and everything. I was like, where the fuck am I? Like I jumped out of the bed. I was like looking around, all panicked. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in New York.
I woke up like every morning, like, oh fuck. Okay, I got my license and I have my credit card. Like that's all I cared about.
But yes. Anyway, it was a lot of hard work.
It was. It was
really
the
hard.
actual day work was actual work.
That's why you had to drink to forget it.
Right. Those 9-hour days were fucking long as shit.
9. You wish they were 9.
Well,
they were longer than that.
Well, whatever. And then fuckers would like linger for an hour. Like when you went to the the night you went to the panel, which I think was Saturday, the convention closed at 7. We were there till almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah, the convention center would not kick people out at the end of the day. Normally, most conventions are really good about it, but there they would not kick people out.
Right. So you can't leave because people will steal your shit.
That happened to other people that we were talking to.
Right.
They were like, yeah, I left at 7:15 yesterday, and I came back, and all my posters were gone. Because they wouldn't kick anyone out.
Yeah. So it's like 7:40, and Chris Barber and I are just like sitting in the booth, and I just start yelling. I'm like, everyone get the fuck out. Like, God damn it.
It's funny because if you do it, everyone's just like, "Oh, there's a race craze. Okay, he's yelling at us." No, seriously, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
You had people come up to you in the booth. They're like, "Yell at me! Yell at the camera!" Like, here's my 8-year-old. This is not made up. Here's my 8-year-old son. Can you yell at him on camera?
Oh my God.
He's a big fan. And then Michael would be yelling at them, and the little kid would be like, "Yeah!" Like all happy, like super excited that Michael's yelling at him. Have you ever yelled at an 8-year-old like that before?
Yes, but not for my job.
I mean, it's a little concerning that an 8-year-old's watching your videos.
Dude, it's like the guy. It was first of all, it was like a French dude. Like he was totally French. He had like a huge scarf on. I'm like, it's like 1 billion degrees in here. And they were at the booth first, and like he just bought some stuff, and he's like, my son is a huge fan. He's such a big fan. Oui, oui. Because that's what they say.
They call it like les rage quit.
Yeah, he's like le quit. So he was like, oh, he's such a big fan, and like at first I'm like, of Rooster Teeth or whatever. I'm like, not my videos. And he starts talking about my videos. And I was like, it's kind of fucking weird. I'm like, all right. And the guy's like, yeah, like thumbs up. And so he leaves, comes back later, and then he's like, my son, he was wondering if you could yell for him in the video. And I was like, are you serious? And the kid standing there is like, oh, go ahead. And I was like, all right. So I just start screaming. And I was like, I was trying to scream and not like curse, like fuck, like right in front of the guy. And then he's like, yell more. And I'm like, oh, fucking bullshit. And he's like, yes. Mazerov's here. So then like that also reminds me, we went to that one, the menu was in, I don't know if it was fucking French or Italian or whatever the fuck it was with the frites.
The steak.
Oh man, yeah.
I don't know what that was, but like there was something on the menu called like cava steak frites, but it wasn't cava because you gotta say it fancy, however the fuck you pronounce it. And under the description, it's like petite sirloin. I was like, I'll also order the petite sirloin because I'm gonna sound like an idiot. And Barbara kept telling me how to say it because she can speak French. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Like my mouth can't make noises like that. So then like I kept calling it like Fritz or like Fritis, like amongst the table. And the guy comes to take the order, and I say to Chris, I'm like, should I order the Fritis? Should I order the Fritis? He's like, you should do it. So like me and him start giggling, and Barbara's like, what?
Like idiots, by the way.
We're like, and Barbara's like, what? And we're like, nothing. The guy comes over and like totally straight face. So I'm like, yes, I'll have the cava steak Fritis.
No, it was. Can I get the steak frites?
Yeah, you said frites.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, how are the cava steak frites? And the guy's like, of course, sir. And Barbara just put her fucking head down on the table. Like, she was laughing hysterically. And your wife was like, are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed right now? And she was like crying, laughing.
It was so fucking funny. You're an entertaining guy. You should have yelled at him for this.
And he took it with stride, though. He's just like, fucking idiot.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets it all the time. And what's funny is that, like, the last day I was there, I went to that restaurant, and I ordered, like, the croque madame, except I said the croque madame, and the waiter corrected me. He goes, oh, you mean the croque madame. I was like, just fucking put the order in. You know what I'm talking about.
What about that motherfucker that wouldn't let me order my goddamn steak?
Oh, my God. That was awkward. I thought there was going to be a fight.
But fuck yeah, give me my food.
Michael ordered a New York strip, and the waiter gave him a really hard sell on a porterhouse. The porterhouse is like $3 more. He's like, it's only $3 more. You get a New York strip and a fillet. And Michael's like, no, I just want the New York strip. He's like, can you tell me why? And Michael's like, because I want the New York strip. He's like, but the other one's so much better meat, and it's
goes,
marinated.
Give me one reason.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
And then like crossed his arms.
And then Michael's like, why is it on the menu if you won't let me fucking order it?
Yeah.
He's like the AOL guy. He's got 5 in that company.
And then he was like, are you 100% sure? Like,
Yeah.
it was like, who wants to be a millionaire? Like,
And then like it was so awkward. Like to kind of break it, I was like, I'll have the steak. Give it to me. You know, I wasn't even going to order that.
Broke Gus into ordering the porterhouse.
And I was like, I'll take it. And then when I ordered, he goes, make sure you don't give any to him.
This is true.
It was one of the most awkward moments I've ever experienced.
Because like then he's going, and I look at and I go, I'm like, seriously, what's wrong with the New York strip steak? Like, is it poison? Like, what the fuck? Then the food comes out. He puts down the porterhouse in front of Gus and looks at me, and he's like, now you wish you ordered this, right? Look how much better it is. I'm like, what the shit?
I thought once I ordered it, that would be the end of it. Like, we would be like, okay, let's just...
He was like stewing in the back, and he's like, motherfucker. Good lord, dude.
He's going to be at your funeral.
Yeah.
With the porterhouse, and he still won't give it to you. So, Brandon, you and Bernie and Joel are taking off to Australia today. Right?
Yeah. I think I'm the only one here.
Yeah, I think everyone else was smart.
It's really funny. Matt wanted Joel to do a video, and Matt realized the day before, he's like, oh shit, Joel's leaving tomorrow. Joel never comes in before he comes into work before he leaves. So he like ran upstairs, knocked on the door, no Joel. He's like calling Joel, he's like, can you come down? Joel's like, maybe, I'll come in tomorrow. Matt's going to be in the video.
Yeah, you should not come into work the day you have to make that trip, because I've timed it before. Brandon's leaving.
That's me awkwardly walking away.
I've timed it.
You're having a stroke.
I think I've been Australia a few times now. From the time you set foot in the Austin airport to the time you set foot out of the Melbourne airport, it's 24 hours exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like
holy shit.
You're going to go through a lot of fucking travel.
The goal is to stay awake until 8 hours before landing.
Yeah. You can try that. It's hard. It's really difficult to try to stay awake, but good luck.
Thank you.
Do you know where you'll be? Like, how far into the flight is that? How far do you have to make it before you can fall asleep?
No idea.
I think it's like a 15-hour flight, LA to Melbourne. So you got to make it about 7 hours on the plane.
That's not too bad. I've been downloading movies.
I think they have like on-demand entertainment as well. But I think you take off like at 11 from LAX. So that's 1 a.m. our time. So you'd have to make it till 8 a.m. our time tomorrow. Is when you have to stay awake till.
Psh, easy.
Okay.
Got it. Done. Because I think when we get there, it's the day of the convention, right? We have to go from the airport and work the convention.
What's today? Wednesday. You'll land on Friday. So yeah.
Yeah. Bring it.
It's fucked up, man. You take off on one day and you land 2 days later.
I have no idea what to bring. I think I brought like clothes to last me a month.
It should be early spring there.
I got half and half.
Like for coffee?
No, like warm clothing.
Oh, okay.
I went shopping last night. That shit's expensive.
Clothes?
Clothes are so expensive. All my clothes are like years and years old.
What'd you buy?
Stuff to keep me warm.
Okay.
Yeah. And these new jeans I'm wearing.
I'm looking.
And these
Fetching.
shoes. Went to an outlet. Everything is 50% off because it sucks.
Which one did you go to? The one in San Marcos?
Round Rock.
Oh, Round Rock?
Yeah.
I never think about that one. I do not envy you guys on that trip you're about to undertake.
Thanks, Gus. Thanks for the words of
Have
encouragement.
fun. What an experience, though.
Brandon tweeted last night. He was asking anyone if there's like any, what would you say, like anything that you might forget to bring with you to Australia. And I replied, I don't know about bringing two, but you should definitely bring back a baby kangaroo, and we could like keep him in the office, he'd be like the office pet and shit. And like if he was really small, I think we could like train him to like be in videos and stuff, and like maybe work on the computers. That'd be pretty awesome. Who the fuck has an office kangaroo? Like you had the cat. Let's do a kangaroo. Or like a koala at least.
The big thing, this big suggestion was toilet paper. What's wrong with the toilet paper in Australia?
It's fine. It's fine. It's not luxurious.
see,
It's like American toilet paper.
I mean, how many
there's a
quilts are we talking about here?
There's a problem with our toilet paper here because people use paper towels.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Who the fuck keeps doing that?
I've been out of the office for like a week because in New York Comic Con, I came back this morning. There were paper towels in the bathroom. I already sent an email saying, "Don't put the fucking paper towels back in the bathroom." I think someone secretly prefers wiping with paper towels.
Why would you do that?
There's no good damn reason. Why would you flush paper towels? There's no good reason.
Why would you fucking use paper towels? Just use construction paper.
So yeah, I've already had
That's crazy.
I've already had to remove it.
I've gotten so many poo-poo emails from Gus, like poo-poo related emails, that it's crazy. It's like one every like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm broken. I didn't.
like 10
I didn't
days.
even send an email about this last.
And there's
year.
always a
Towel
picture
towel.
involved. Like usually, like there's no toilet paper, the bowl, and then the paper towels are just sitting on the floor right next to the toilet paper. And he's like, "No!" Like, that's just like the email. That's happened like 3 times already.
I had a plunge a toilet, and I was like, I could look up in security who did this, but our office is so much smaller now that we're not doing animation is on recess. I was afraid. I was afraid of who it would be and how close they'd be to me. I don't want to know.
I've got a good guess. I've busted someone before that I have not publicly shamed yet.
This is the one I know
Fucking
about?
poo-poo police.
I don't
over
know,
here.
maybe.
The one that Kara outed?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, no, it's not the one Kara outed. She didn't do anything.
Oh.
There you go.
Why are we surprised?
Man,
Are you going to beep that one?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it feels once I'm
See
cutting
how
it together.
feels.
Just whatever feels right, baby. I want to make you feel good.
Yeah. Gus and I had a lot of bonding, a lot of spooning going on, a lot of hugging in the booth. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of dry humping.
Yeah. I think at one point we did like a jumping chest bump.
Yeah, we didn't even coordinate it. We're
No,
like,
and it was fucking perfect.
It was, like, spot on.
Like I couldn't believe we didn't knock the whole booth over and like kill 7 people.
Gus, remember that 3-way jumping high five?
Yeah.
You, Gavino, and I did. I still have dreams about
Think
that
about
to this
it.
day.
We should try to expand it.
I don't think you can, man.
Of course you can.
So did you guys end up going to that strip club?
No, well, it wasn't a strip club. It was like a
No, it was like a I don't know what it was, like private viewing booths.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I've
Yeah.
never been
For
to
DVDs.
a place that has that.
yeah. It was like a DVD store, I think, with like a booth in the back where you just like put the like.
I want to
money
say,
in and, like, the
I don't know if
screen
this
opens
is.
or
I
whatever.
remember walking down the
Assuming
street
that's what it was.
on another day and seeing it was like 25-cent viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
probably what it
25
was.
cents.
Yeah, well, it's you're sitting in a room and there's like glass, and then you put the quarter.
I'll
in
take
and
3.
the
75 cents.
But from what Kevin was saying, there was a private deal that you could negotiate with his, contact information.
Yeah.
Probably sex for money. Just so you know.
Probably.
Is it
just
quarters
so
or is there like it's like a whole token system you have to buy into?
I don't know. I didn't go in. Next time.
But there were a couple of places like that. There was like one place that had lingeries, lubricant, and what else did it say? Like lingeries, lubricant,
I think it was
and
DVDs.
DVDs. Yeah. I thought it
Buy
said-
some lingerie with your
I
DVD.
thought it said dildos.
We'll trade a
Or toys.
blue
It said
DVD.
Yeah,
toys.
there you go. Yeah, it didn't say dildo.
Toys.
They're like, let's be classy about it.
Yeah.
Not throw, dildo up in the street.
Let's be classy about it while our store display facing the street has, bras with no cups and crotchless panties on a mannequin.
Yeah. Stay classy.
We stayed in a great part of town. I don't know if you can tell.
It was pretty sweet.
Was it anywhere near the? Did you see the McDonald's incident that happened while you guys were gone?
I don't think so.
Oh man, I mean, in general, McDonald's fights are awesome. There's been like 4 or 5 in the last year, but these two girls were arguing with a guy who was working behind the counter, and they hit him, and he slapped one of them, and then he walked away to the side and in the back, and they jumped over the counter and were following him. And you're like, oh man, I hope that guy's going to be okay. Then he comes out of the back with a big metal rod and starts beating them unmercifully.
Oh, shit.
And they fall to the ground, and all you see is just like him going up and down, like beating them and beating them and beating them. And it's tough because you're just like, well, I mean, they kind of deserve it.
No. Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
It's not Burger King. They can't have it their way. Let's set their expectations appropriately here.
Sucks. That guy, he was already in prison for 10 years, served his time. He was a working American.
Trying to fucking,
Live the life, have it all.
trying to put a smile on. I like the old fucking catchphrase better.
Which one?
Put a smile on.
Oh, was that wasn't it?
What's the catchphrase now?
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
That's like the hip,
Ba-da-ba-ba.
like R&B new thing. With the ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That was
Yeah.
like the early 2000s. Like, we're at McDonald's. We're hip with it.
Have you seen? They have a few. Like, I feel like they target. They have the weird demographics that they target with some of their commercials.
Fat people.
Like, I've seen some that are like entirely in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's really bizarre.
There's a lot of, like, basketball players and such,
Yeah,
too.
but the people in their commercials are never the people you see at a McDonald's.
yeah, no shit.
I mean, let's be clear about that. I don't think I've ever seen a fat person in a McDonald's commercial.
I don't think I have either.
And I don't think I've seen anyone as thin as those people in a McDonald's.
After Super Size Me, McDonald's had an actor dressed up like Ronald McDonald, full makeup and costume, go on some new show as Ronald McDonald. And he was talking about how he's losing weight, he's getting in really good shape, he's exercising. It's like, who is that for? Like, who is it for children who are watching the news?
And
like,
who saw
what
Super
are you-
Size Me?
All the
Yeah.
8-year-olds who watch Super Size Me and like, never again.
What are you accomplishing here?
That's really
Where's
bizarre.
Grimace? Bring in Grimace. It was really dumb, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
No, that sucks because I'm gonna have to try to find that for the link dump, but I don't think I'll be able to find that.
I don't know. It has to be on YouTube.
That sounds fucking terrible.
YouTube's just the archive of video that you've ever seen.
We
Because if you've seen it, someone else has seen it.
yeah, but
Exactly. Someone less lazy as you, and they've uploaded it.
yeah, that's what it is. It's not being lazy.
Yeah.
When we were there, the Occupy Wall Street protest moved. I guess they marched from Wall Street up to Times Square, and they closed off a lot of the streets around our hotels in that area. There were a bunch of cops and people marching and chanting, getting into stuff.
Friday morning.
My
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my mom. My mom texted me. He's like, "When you're in New York, don't let any protesters get you." I was like, "What?"
I actually read something pretty funny about the march from Wall Street to Times Square. Apparently, a bunch of the protesters, walking was too hard, so they just took the subway.
It's a long walk. It is not. It is pretty.
I mean,
fucking
taking
far.
the subway doesn't exactly prove a point. So,
It was Friday morning, and Andrew and I had the room that night. We started talking about Wall Street for something. Like, we're getting ready to walk to the convention. I was like, "Yeah, but we're gonna stop by Wall Street." I was like, "Oh, we are?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna check the protesters and stuff. It's really terrible what's happening over there, and we're gonna go check it out." He's like, "Oh, okay, if you want." I'm like, "No, we're not actually going. I don't give a shit." He was ready to go. He was like, "Oh, I guess."
Do you think that protest
Nobody fucking cares. I don't
made
give a
any
fuck.
difference at all?
It's still going on. I think it is slowly making a difference.
I feel like instead of in a lot of different cities, if they tried to get everybody to come to one city, you can make more of an impact in numbers
Well, I think
than you can in just every little city reporting in their local news, oh, this is happening, as opposed to people being like, holy shit, there's thousands of people here.
that's harder. I like what they're doing actually. I like the distributed approach where it's it's because it's easier for more people to go. How many people would really go to New York and stay there for over a month now?
Maybe DC. DC's easier to get to.
It's still traveling.
traveling.
It's still getting on
Yeah.
a plane, paying money out of pocket. Whereas if you're local, you can just go and do it.
Yeah, because the whole part of the protest is that they don't have any money. So why would they spend a whole bunch of money to travel somewhere to protest not having money?
But it's just an issue of measuring impact. I mean, protests these days are so neutered.
I think it's.
Like-
I think having multiple cities is impressive. Like, I think that's pretty impressive to me. Is coordinating and having protests across that many cities.
I guess I feel like when you're more concentrated in higher numbers in a single place, it feels more like a threat. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's when the state responds, is when they're like, this is legitimately a threat, we need to address it, as opposed to when it's more casual protesting or just like a few people, it's more easy to ignore and say, these people will move on in their life in a month.
They're still, but I mean,
I
you're
think-
reaching a lot more people whenever it's happening in a bunch of different cities.
I think they also don't want to be perceived as a threat because they don't want that to be used as an excuse for their protest to be broken up.
Although-
It's just like they were going to try to disband them in New York to clean the park, so they cleaned the park.
Yeah, but if it's broken up and cops come in and they throw tear gas, that's news for a month. And that's like, wow, this is a really big thing. Like, this is a really huge problem. And yeah, you may reach more people in more cities, but if you measure the impact that, like in Austin, people were driving by and honking horns. And it's like, it's just, if it was just an event, like a holy shit, this stuff's going on, cops coming, throwing stuff, that's like a protest.
That's kind of happened though. I mean,
That changes.
It's not a protest if someone doesn't get their ass kicked.
Somebody's throwing something.
Unless there's cops on
Otherwise,
horses.
it's like, it's just a gathering. There's
that
people
man
are
a
just
rock.
like,
although at one point they turned off the cellular data and all that stuff, like no cell phones, no data in the protest when it started. So I mean, it had some serious.
yeah, that's like
Terrorism.
That's like, what is it? 76 Democratic Convention riot right there, turning off.
Going old school.
I don't know why that reminded me of this because it's completely irrelevant. But Chris Barber and I came out of the pizza place. Like, I think it was the day we got there, and we had like an extra slice of pizza. And Barber's like, "We'll give it to a homeless person because she's nice and not a piece of shit like I am."
It's because she's Canadian.
Right. So she sees like this homeless guy, like laying on the street or on like the sidewalk, and she goes up to him and she's like, "Here, this is for you," and like puts it down. And the guy starts eating the pizza, and me and Chris are looking at each other, and Chris is like, "We should have done that." And I'm like, "Yeah, we should have." And Barbara's like, "Oh, you wanted to give him food?" And I'm like, "No, Chris meant lie on the street and get the food for free because everyone had to pay for it." And she's like, "Oh," and Chris is like, "No, seriously, that's what I meant." So then like the next day we had like extra breakfast, and Chris is like, he's like, "Yeah, let's go find a homeless person." Like, he was so excited about it. We walked all the way from the fucking restaurant to the convention center, and like him and Barbara were like mad there was no homeless people to give their food.
We got to do something about this.
Chris is like, maybe if we hide the food somewhere that a homeless person would know to look, then they could find it. Quick, we should call Marshall and ask him where he lives.
Oh man! But I was surprised at how few homeless people
There
I
was
saw.
not very many.
Yeah, and we had to walk almost a mile between the convention center and the hotel. There's way more here in Austin than I saw up there. I saw like 2. I saw more dogs wandering the streets than homeless people. It was weird.
Did you actually hear about in New York a while ago? There was this weird phenomenon going on where there were dogs that would get on the subway and they just move around like a pack of dogs. Like, get on the subway. This is our subway. What's up?
I heard that I saw a story. Who knows how believable it is? In Moscow, that there was a dog that would commute from the suburbs to the city to get food every day. Then he'd go from the city back to the suburbs to like where he lived in the evening.
No
Savvy
way.
dog.
It's possible.
I'll see if I can find this. I find it so skeptical. But they say every day he'd get on at the same stop and get off at the same stop.
Skeptical, absolutely, but I don't see why that would be impossible.
I don't believe anything that comes out of Russia, except for that. Did I ever send you guys that that animation for the story that guy told? I am the machine.
Yeah.
Like that I believe. That's too crazy to have been made up. I'll put that in the link dump as well. That's a great story. It's, I guess, the guy who the character Van Wilder is based on tells this story about taking a Russian class and then going to Russia and his experiences with the mob there. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It's from some other podcast that's more popular than ours.
What's it called?
The Joe Rogan podcast or the Joe
Never
Rogan
heard of it.
Experience.
What is it?
All right. You going to be at Armageddon in Melbourne and Auckland. This
Along
coming
with
weekend and next weekend.
Joel Heyman and Bernie Burns.
You aren't going anywhere.
I'm here.
You're here. You're here. Mm-hmm. You're never going anywhere again.
I'm going to LA, baby. In 2
You're going
weeks.
to LA? What are you going to LA for?
Some thing that Bernie's like, you and Jack are going to LA. I was like, all right.
Okay.
November 4th and 5th, I'll be in LA doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Well, now you know. I'm a fucking wealth of information over here.
And I'll be at MCM Expo, not this weekend, but next weekend in London. So if you live in any of those places, come see us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.